InDesign Exercise 3. Download the Exercise 3 materials. You're going to have a .tif image, an EPS image, the PDF is the instructions, and then the final PDF is what we're making. So open up the instructions and then open up the final so you can see what you're trying to accomplish. So in the instructions, we're going to create a new document, tabloid size, 1-inch margin, 5 columns, 1P gutter, 1P bleed. 1P refers to 1 pica. Pica is a measuring system that predates digital work. There's 6 picas to an inch, and there's 12 points to a pica. So it's 72 points to an inch. So it's a very fine measuring system. If you're working in inches, you get into really weird numbers if you try to get below 1/8. So a lot of times it's easier to work in picas. So we're going to make a new file. And if you go to Print Presettings, tabloid is one of your choices. If you're working in inches here, that's 11 by 17, which is a standard size. 5 columns. If you type in 1P, hit tab, it'll automatically convert it since we're working in inches in our units. 0.1667 equals 1 pica. Half-inch margins. The bleed is also going to be 1P. Bleed is used so that you can extend an element past the edge of the page. When you're working in print, extending past the edge of the page, when the paper is cut to the size that it's going to ultimately be, it allows the ink to go right to the very edge. If you put it to 0 and the paper moves a little bit, you may see a little bit of white, a little bit of an edge, and that doesn't look good. So by extending it past, it allows for a little bit of error. All right, so we're going to make 3 layers and we're going to name them. Water and fish, circles, type. So within your layers, make 3 layers by clicking the plus. Double click on that layer. So I've got my 3 layers created. Okay, we're going to make the green element. So a green rectangle, top edge at 6.2. And we're going to bleed the right side and the bottom. And the left side actually as well. So make a rough frame, top edge, Y, 6.2, tab, and it'll go there. Then you can drag out the bottom of the frame so it goes to the bleed. Now we're going to make the fill color this standard or pre-populated green. So now to make the wave, we're going to add a point. So add anchor point. Place it, click the very edge, click and drag so that you make a curve. Then use the Convert Direction Point tool. Carefully grab the edge of the handle, and on the top, if you pull it to the right, you'll get a rough approximation of what we're looking for. Use the Direct Select tool to refine it. Once you've made that break in the curve, you're done with the anchor point tool. Use the Direct Select arrow to modify your curve. We're going to create a green swatch 56.7, 56.0. That's going to be our green. So open up your swatches, make a new swatch. '56, tab 7, 52, 0. That's our green. Okay, now we're going to place the fish. So we're going to put it in 5 times, and then we're going to use these percentages. The first one stays at 100%. So File, Place, Command D if you want to get to the point where you're using shortcuts. I have to go back to my previous. Sorry. Exercise 3. Place the fish. That was already selected. I'm going to undo. Just drop that in. Okay, now I can place it 5 times, or I can cut and paste it 5 times. So if I copy this, deselect it, paste, I'm deselecting between each one. Okay, so now we're going to size these. 350, 180, 140, 130. I'm hitting tab to commit the size. Okay, so I've got the 5 fish in. Arrange and rotate to match the sample. So the large one bleeds off the edge, and then the smaller are arranged around it. If you hover over the edge or the corner, you get the bent arrows. You can rotate this. And the rotation will show up in this box here, which shows you the angle. If you don't want to do it by hand, you can just type that number in. get each of them at the same angle. Oh, wrong place. All right, and my first one I don't need, I'm going to delete that. All right, and so we have one above, one right by it. Smallest one is above. Next largest is right off the nose and then below. And the large one right here is behind. So if I wasn't paying attention, all my elements are on the wrong layer. By selecting them, Shift Select, and moving that square, I can put them on the appropriate layer. Then by opening up that layer, I can reorder the order of the fish. Okay, so now we're going to place the bad fish file. We're going to size that at 155. Okay, look at the example, and that's off to the right, heading downward. And right now I'm seeing this white box around it. I should have used a clipping path on that. So I'm going to place it again, Command D. Show the import options. Apply the Photoshop clipping path. Now when it comes in, it won't have that white box behind it. Or shouldn't. If it's still a problem, I'll put that below the water. All right, so now we're going to make circles. So you want to select the circles layer, and we're going to make blue dots. 0.6 inch blue dot. Select the circles layer. Select the ellipse tool. Just make an ellipse. And note, right now this is going to make an invisible object. So just for right now, I'm going to give it some color so I can see it. And the width and the height, I'm going to make 0.6. And we're just going to use a blue that's one of the default colors. It's 100% cyan. All right, so we're going to end up with 7 circles equally spaced apart, and then we're going to move them as a group to these alignments, or to this measurement. So to make the equally spaced repeating dots or circles, go to Object, Transform, Move. We want to move these 1.25 inches vertically. And we can copy that. Then go to Object, Transform again, Transform again. So I've got 7. I'm going to select all of those and make those a group, so that if I select one, they all select. I'm going to place those left align 1 inch, top align 3.5. And that doesn't look correct now, does it? I came in -1. Okay. So this fish did not get put onto the water and fish layer, so I'm going to move that down. All right, now we're going to make a yellow circle. 5-point dot stroke on a 10-inch diameter circle. So click and drag out a circle, holding the Shift key to make sure that it stays perfectly proportional. Width and height is 10 inches. In the strokes, the type is dotted. And we're going to make the color yellow. And the placement of that, the center is 6.15 and the left is 2.15. So since I've got this left align, I'm going to set my 2.15 first. Then I'm going to change my point of origin to the center, make the Y 6.5. And that doesn't look right either. Nope, that's correct. Okay, now we're going to work on the type layer. We're going to type the title, "The Fish Were Biting, So I Stayed Longer." So choose your type layer. Let's make a box. This is all caps. We'll put the caps lock on. Control A. I'm going to make this big enough so I can just see what I've got. I've got a typo. All right, so this type is going to be Helvetica Neue Condensed Black. If you don't have Helvetica Neue, use a sans serif heavy face, black, heavy, whatever you've got. That can be Arial, Avenir, something along those lines. Sans serif, 74 on 52. 74, tab 52. The leading number being smaller than the type size means that the spacing is going to be very tight between the lines. That's what you're looking for. Use green and blue from the previous swatches, and then Pantone 2748 for the dark blue. So the fish, the text tool, select those, make that the cyan. We're biting. Forgot my color. That's the green that we made. All right, and so I stayed longer. We're going to need to make a new swatch. So Pantone 2748, Pantone colors used to be available in Adobe products. They had a licensing disagreement. You can no longer get PMS or Pantone Matching System colors automatically loaded. You can look it up online and see what the CMYK equivalents are, but for right now, I'm going to use this existing dark blue, and that'll be good enough for this exercise. They're flush right, and then we're going to align it to the top and right of the page. So flush right, using the arrow keys. It's easier to place this exactly where I want it. Okay, now we're going to create a text frame 2 columns wide with the top at 2.5. We're going to go all the way down to the lower margin. So just make a text box. Which that didn't seem to work. Because I was still selected. Okay, the top is at 2.5. Again, make sure your reference point is top left. Then I'm going to stretch the bottom down to the margin. I'm going to fill it with placeholder text. Placeholder text is used when you don't have the copy that you need, and for right now, this is all we need. If somebody needs to see a layout and they haven't given you the copy yet, you use placeholder text so that they can see what it looks like and how much room they have to work with. 14:34 Gill Sans Light justified. Fill with placeholder text. Gill Sans Light. (14:34). justified. All right, with placeholder text, there's no paragraphs in here right now. So you can see it all just flows down. To add a paragraph, just click into your text. By hitting return, you're creating a paragraph. Control A, select all. 1.375 first line indent. So go to your paragraph settings, first line indent. You can see how where I created paragraphs that those have indented. And we're going to make that the same 2748, which I used the dark blue. So for this purpose, again, I'm going to use the dark blue text. So select the text tool, Command A. And that should be it. So just double check, see that it looks like the example, or relatively looks close to it. Save the file, ID underscore exercise 3 underscore your first initial last name. When you save it, it'll become a .indd, InDesign. And then save that file, and just to do it, so that you're aware of this function, package the file. Okay, so I have to save it first. ID underscore exercise 3 underscore first initial last name. Save it. Be aware where you're saving things so that you know where to find them. By packaging, it's going to create a folder, and it's going to copy the fonts, it's going to copy your graphics, it's going to create a PDF for you. Now you don't need to submit all those pieces, but it's a nice function to have for the InDesign Final, the cookbook. You'll need to package it so that when you submit the folder, I get all the pieces. That's it. Submit it to Blackboard.